Hey, Doug here. Was on the internet the other day and I saw that one of my purveyors had the Sierra 155 grain soft point bullets available. They're called a Pro Hunter bullet from for the 350 Legend, and a lot of the 35 caliber bullets are really designed for higher speeds than the 350. So I'll be curious to see how they work out. But what I'm going to do is hand load some of them and then fire them into some water to see how they mushroom out, and also do some grouping with them, give you an idea what the velocity is. But just for some comparison, I thought I'd show you a couple of my hand loads that I use. These I specifically made for a M4 frame, and they're running 2171 feet per second, and they happen to be the Hornady 165 grain FTX bullet. And they have a BC of .250, which is probably the best of the three that I'm going to show you. The other box would be I load a lot of these. These are 170 grain interlock bullets, and they're running 2,350 feet per second. I'll show you that bullet. These happen to be in a nickel case, which I kind of like. And these have a BC of .215. Now, in comparison, the Sierra bullets have a BC of .182 and are supposedly traveling at about 2,300 feet per second. So we're going to have to take a look at it. So there were two powders that I could have used, and I ended up using H110. 4227 by IMR was the other one that I could have used. That one shows on their webpage as 2,200 feet per second. So what I loaded here is this bullet here. I'll just show it to you. And that is the 155 grain Pro Hunter bullet. And overall length is 2.140. So I'm going to load 10 of those, and then I will fire them across the chronograph and into water at about 10 feet just to see if they even hold together. But the real chronograph, or excuse me, the real water, I'll set them up at 100 yards and see what they look like there. So what I hope to do in this video is take them out and group them with my bolt action. Maybe I'll shoot them out of the M4. I usually load the M4s down a little bit. These are 26 grains, and the internet on Sierra says 26.1 is the highest. So they're towards the high end, and have a tendency to get a bulge right here with my M4 when I shoot hot loads with it. So we'll give it a try, see how it turns out, so stay tuned. In the wintertime, I get all my brass and size it, throw it in a polisher for overnight, get it all polished up. I only use CCI 450 Magnum primers, so I get them all primed up, so they're just sitting around waiting for me to load them into something. That makes it nice because it doesn't take long to put together a load. These are a little bit different because for some reason I needed to bell these out just a smidgen to get them to accept the case without peeling over the neck of the case or something. So I don't really have a 350 bell, so I just got a 9mm. In fact, it's sitting right here. That's a 9mm bell tool, and as you can see, it's set pretty high because it's a longer case. So tomorrow, when the sun is shining, we'll shoot these over the chronograph and see how close they come to 2,300 feet per second. I've got a Rode external mic that I just turned on. We'll see if there's a difference with it off and plugged in. See if I can scare Joey to death here. You hear what sounds like a locomotive, it's his reason. Here we go. 2207 on the old Richter scale. And by the way, I thought I'd show you this really cool thing, thanks to Al. Probably showed this to people before, but this is our version of a flush magazine. So we just took a regular magazine. I can use this for a gun rest. And Al cut a whole bunch off the bottom and then put a little TIG weld on there. And this holds 2, gun holds 3 total. And it's pretty close to being flush. So let's go up and see what we got here. All right, without diving in too deep, I think I'm looking at the jacketed casing right there. Got one totally destroyed. No lead in there. Jacket stuck in this one. Let's see what's in here, if anything. Looks like that was a through and through. Looks like there's some lead pieces in this one. It's kind of like mining for gold here. It's super heavy, so it ought to end up in the cap. There we go. Little bitty piece. Couple of more pieces. We'll show those to you later. This jug just got knocked over. This jug has got the jacket stuck in it. And that is it. I don't see any more jacket. I'm just going to lay this little fella on its side so it doesn't all leak out. Other than that, I see bits and pieces of lead around here and nothing substantial. So I think we can conclude that this cartridge wasn't made for super heavy 335 Remingtons or Wellens or 350 short mags or anything. It's really designed for lighter stuff like what we're doing here. Now I did a test like this at point blank range basically for another guy that had some really cool bullets, and all the pedals just shooed right off, and I called him up. I said, dude, what happened to this bullet? He says, well, we don't really design it to be shot at 10 feet. So why don't you shoot it at longer ranges that would be more applicable. So tomorrow we will go out and set up my milk jugs, and we'll shoot round into the milk jugs at 100 yards after we get it sighted in. So I don't know how sighted in we're going to get, but if we get close enough, I can figure it out. Kentucky windage. All right, 2207, and it was asking or saying it was going to do 2300. I don't know what length barrel they used. Mine's a 16.5. Could have easily lost 100 feet per second over a 22 or a 24-inch barrel. So let's take a look at that, and we'll get back with more information. Doug out. Hey, Doug here. Yesterday we reloaded up a couple of the 350 155 grain Sierra soft points, and late last afternoon I fired those into a milk jug. We got 2207 for a speed on our first shot, and the bullet disintegrated at 10 feet, which doesn't surprise me one bit. That having been said, today we're going to try to shoot a group, see how well they shoot at 100 yards, and then we're going to try to shoot into a milk jug and see if we can capture the bullet at 100 yards also, which is more realistic. In my opinion, there's a couple of things that you absolutely have to have when you're buying a bullet or a gun or anything like that. Number one, reliability. The gun has to work well when you need it to work. The bullets need to feed and not get stuck or jammed up or anything like that. Number two, they have to be accurate. So we're looking at an inch and a half group with a 350 would be more than a minute of deer here in Michigan. And they have to be consistent. So you have to get a good expansion on the bullet and the speed of the bullet needs to be relatively close to each other and get a good standard deviation. I figure a round like this, anything under a standard deviation of 20 would be a good round. So I'm going to show you my setup here, and then I'm going to take the camera and go sit it down at the target, and you can watch the bullet zing into the target. Dug out. We'll be utilizing my homemade table and the lead sled to get a good steady rest. By the way, I'm using my silencer co-hybrid 46 on this gun, so it'll keep things relatively quiet. And we're going to try a 3-shot load here and see how it goes. Looks like we're very low and to the right. I'm going to adjust it so that we're relatively close. Then we'll shoot a 3-shot group. All right, so we've got a average speed of 23:31, extreme spread on 6 rounds of 66, and a standard deviation of 27. Not exactly that fantastic, but not bad either. Let's go down and see what the group looks like. All right, I did a quick analysis of speed, and we have an average of 2,340 feet per second. Yesterday at 10 feet we shot into the water jugs and blew up 2 of them. So this is jug number 2, and I can tell you that there are pieces of lead, and we'll show it to you a little closer. And there's brass laying all over the place, and this has lead in it also. Let me pour that out on here and we'll take a look at it. So lying on the ground is the carcass, I think. Bring that up and show it to you a little closer. All right, so in jug number 3, we found a couple chunks of lead. These pieces of lead here. This was already on the table. I found this on the floor, on the ground. So I'm going to presume that that fell down between the cracks here. And we have a total penetration of 3 jugs. In comparison, my 170s would go through about 7 jugs, and I'd find them in a mushroomed fashion. So I'm thinking this bullet is a fairly light construction with the copper, and at 100 yards it is used up. I don't mind if we have expansion back to 1/8 of an inch. My problem is the core separated. Once that happens, your penetration is done. So I would give that bullet poor marks for use on anything other than maybe a varmint or something. All right, we shot a sub MOA group with the first 3. Barrel is not even close to hot, so kind of disappointed with the penetration on these. I was hoping the core would be a little stronger and the bullets would stay together. I guess I've gotten spoiled with my 170 grain Speer Point Hornadies. They're like family, man. They stay together through thick and thin. So got 3 shots on the chronograph. I'm going to shoot 3 more, try to shoot 1 more group and see how that pans out, and then we'll have a 6-shot group for standard deviation. So since you got to watch the target last time, this time you get to watch me. I'm going to try to dial it right for the old 0. Right for this 1/2-inch red sticker. Just for fun, let's give the magazine something to do here. Pretend we're actually hunting. That was a good cycle. All right. Last one was 2302. So our first group was 0.98. Did a little of adjusting here, and this group measures 1.4 inches. Not horrible, but I like this one better, of course. So if you took the average, we're at about 1.2 inches at 100 yards. I was looking at the brass, and it looks like the 26.1 is probably conservative on the max for this. primers look really nice. Don't have any bulges in my cases. Primers are all nice and rounded and not flattened out, so I've probably got a little room to move there, but I probably won't do it because the bullet can't handle the velocity. It obviously comes unglued. If I drop the velocity to like 1700 or so, I'm sure that bullet would perform better, but it's not like in 350 speed. So I would say on reliability, 26 standard deviation is pretty good on velocity. Accuracy is plenty good. Bullet construction, a little light. And there you have it, dug out. All right, one more thing I want to add to my video, and that is the use of a app off my phone called Bullet Drop Plus. There are many of these available. This one happens to be one that I grabbed, and I've gotten familiar with it, and I'll show you how it works. So if you take a look at your load down here, I have put in 350 Legend, 155 Speer Pro Hunter. Didn't spell hunter right. And then I plugged in the information. It's a 155 grain bullet, BC's 0.182, and my average speed is 0.2331, 2,331 feet per second. My scope's an 1.5 inches off the bore, and I want to zero at 100 yards. Now, just for fun, I threw in a wind speed of 10 miles an hour, which is moderate for November Michigan deer hunting, at 90 degrees, just to show you. And we'll hit calculate. Now, I have this set up for increments every 50 yards, but since this is a rainbow deal, I probably would be a lot happier if I changed that to 25. So let's just go back and do that just for fun. We will change, let's see, where do I go to do that? Let's see if I can remember. Let's go to load. I can't remember how to do it, to be honest with you. Oh, I think we go up here and hit I. There we go. Range increment. We're going to change that to 25. And if you're shooting a pellet gun, you could even go less than that. So now this is set for 25. And you can see probably should not be shooting past 250 down here, which is 17.8 inches of drop. But some interesting things to note here. At 100 yards, I'm zeroed in. That's really great with a wind direction from 90 degrees left to right. I've already got a 3-inch hold over here. So if you're unaware of wind drift on these slow cartridges, you could be 3 inches off, which might be a gut shot for you. So you got to be careful. Oh, let's shoot it at 200 yards. I can shoot it at 200 yards. I'm not surprised by an 8.3 inch drop, but look at this, 11 inches off. You got to know that stuff, so make sure that you're paying attention to that. And I've heard people say, yeah, I shot a deer at 300 yards. Well, it dropped 32 inches. By the way, my 22-250 drops 32 inches at 500 yards. And you got a wind drift of 27.1 inches. Do you think you could get that right? Now we're getting into the realm of impossible. So probably 0 to 150 is where you should be, and if you can't get a deer within that range, move and go somewhere else tomorrow. All right, just wanted to give you an idea how to calculate this stuff, and it's very easy. It's a free app, and I'll stick it on the end of my review of the Sierra Pro Hunter. Dug out.